All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dental Marketing Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Thackeray, and today we are on episode 134, Building Redundancy into Your Marketing. And I want to start off by sharing that little story, really. I've been recently getting into rock climbing. Did a little bit before in the past, but have been getting into it with some of my girls, some of my daughters. And it's been really fun to see them grow into the sport, grow into confidence, and as well as me, just growing in confidence with equipment and setup and everything like that. But one of the things in climbing, you never want to trust your life, in this case, to a single anchor or a single point of failure. You are always trying to build in multiple points of protection so that in case one fails, you have a backup, right? You can't just assume that everything's going to do its job properly. That's kind of drilled into you in the world of climbing. You have to build redundancy. And so when you are building that, if you are, let's say you're building an anchor at the top, my youngest and I went climbing last night. We had a little bit of time. And so we thought, let's go climb. And so we went and we're doing top roping. So you start at the top, you build out the rope, and then you start, you build an anchor, run the rope through, and then I can belay my daughter, in this case, my Annie. I've, harnessed her up and we roped her in, and then she would climb up and I'd have her, belay underneath her so that when she's ready or if she slips, I caught a hold of her and could, or when she's done, she could just rappel down. But when you're at the top, you're building out this anchor and you want multiple points, right? There's these two hooks drilled into the wall, and you want to use both of those hooks because if one fails, then you have another one. And same thing with the rope. You have 2 points of failure at least, so that in case, like in this case, we had 2 hooks coming from the anchor points, and then 2 carabiners from those anchor points, and then I had a sling, this woven nylon sling, little rope type thing that I'd attached both of those two through carabiners, and then you have 2 carabiners that are hooked to that, and then you have the rope through that. So you've got multiple points of failure on this, just in case something were to happen. And I thought about that and what an applicable principle that is to your dental practice, and just begs the question, how many practices are trusting their entire new patient flow to a single marketing channel or a single campaign, right? In climbing, redundancy isn't a negative thing. It's not pessimistic. It's smart. It's wisdom. And the exact same principle applies to your practice when you're trying to grow and add new patients. You don't just want a single channel or a single effort or a single campaign to rely on. Because if that were to fail or change, then things would be tough, right? You'd be up a creek. If let's say you're only driving new patients via Facebook ads, and then Facebook changes and you no longer are getting the same results, then you are at the mercy of that channel, right? So it's important to ask yourselves this question: what happens if tomorrow things aren't working the way that they worked in the past? Google ads stop performing, or your SEO rankings drop because of new changes to the algorithm, or you're not getting as many referrals as past, or direct response isn't working. Those are all various points of failure, right? So we want to build in redundancy into what we're doing so that if one thing isn't working, we have that other backup to rely on. So if you take, let's use the case of referrals. So it means intentionally building new ways to generate referrals. So a lot of people have one way, which is very passive. It's simply do a good job, perform, be a good clinician, deliver a good, solid patient experience. And then they kind of hope that people will refer them. And that is a system. It's not, albeit the most effective system, but it is a system. So if that fails, then what? Then you're not getting as many referrals. So think of it in terms of, well, how can I build out a system to proactively generate more referrals from patients, from other doctors or other offices, from other people in the community, other could be organizations, and you're building out this redundancy, these various ways to, in this case, generate referrals, so that if one doesn't work, say patient referrals are down, you still have a system for other office or doctor referrals or community referrals, right? So that's the whole idea behind this, and you want to build that into your marketing. So, and I guess another way you could look at it is from the financial lens. You hear this all the time. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify. And this is that same principle. You're really kind of diversifying so that you're protecting yourself. You're adding additional layers of protection, or in this case, you're adding additional marketing efforts so that you have that consistent new patient flow. Okay. So just a quick thought that I wanted to share today, but I want to challenge you to think of it in terms of redundancy. Think of what if this, it's always important to look at what's working for you now. Generate a report if you can, so you have empirical data to go off of and see where are patients coming from. Then look at what would happen if this particular source of new patients went away or changed tomorrow. Would we still hit our goals? And if the answer is no, then it's time to think about building redundancy. It's time to think about ways that you can add additional anchor points or additional ways to fortify that single point of failure. So just to conclude and to keep with this analogy, in climbing, no one ever regrets building a stronger anchor. Like, that's just not a thing, right? The only regret is needing a stronger one after something's happened, something's failed. And the same is true for your practice. Don't wait for your biggest marketing source to disappear before you start building the next one, before you start creating redundancy in your practice. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have questions, I'd love to hear them. Or if you'd like to leave a review, that would be tremendous. That would just make me so happy. If you could do that, wherever you're listening to the podcast, just take a 30 seconds, leave a review, what you like about the podcast, something that you learned in particular. That would be tremendous. And we'll catch you next time.